Arabidopsis dohrnii jellyfish is officially known as the only immortal creature in the world. It lives forever. Climate change is making spiders bigger. A haunted radio station from Russia has been broadcasting a dull, monotonous tone for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for the last 3.5 decades. Every few seconds, it's joined by a second sound, like some ghostly ship sounding its fog horn. Dogs like squeaky toys because they mimic the screams of their prey. Two Scottish surgeons originally invented the chainsaw to assist childbirth. Spiders can survive in space. Locked-in syndrome is a condition in which a patient is fully aware but is stuck in a coma-like state. While Ted Bundy was a psychology major at the University of Washington, he worked at Seattle's Suicide Hotline Crisis Center. The film A Nightmare on Elm Street is based on a real story reported in the LA Times. A boy was terrified to go to sleep, and when he did, he died while screaming about a nightmare. Ducklings can engage in cannibalistic behavior when they're bored. When you die, the last sense to leave your body is the ability to hear. More than 80% of our ocean is unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored. Technically, it's not impossible to die from holding in a sneeze. Some injuries from holding in a sneeze can be very serious, such as ruptured brain aneurysms, ruptured throat, and collapsed lungs. Horned lizards can defend themselves by squirting blood out of their eyes. Mobile phones are 10 times dirtier than a toilet seat. Alien hand syndrome is a phenomenon in which one hand is not under control of the mind. The person loses control of the hand, and it acts if it has a mind of its own. King Charles II drank alcohol mixed with pulverized human skulls. Some ants turn into zombies via parasitic fungus which manipulates their brains. missing, or that they are dying, dead, or don't exist. They may think nothing exists. Criminologists estimate that there's a 1 in 3 chance police will never identify your killer if you're murdered in the US. Fatal familial insomnia makes it impossible for someone to sleep for months. You are more likely to die on your birthday. The chance someone will die on their birthday is 6.7%, which is higher than any other day. Some female spiders allow their young to eat them alive. Okay, so the next one. Refrigerators are magnetic because kids used to die inside them. Before 1956, refrigerators could only be opened from the outside. People who are slowly going blind might suffer from Charles Bonnet syndrome, where they hallucinate patterns, or in some cases, people. It can last for years, and there is no cure, nor is there a medication that specifically gets rid of the visions. The main treatment seems to be just understanding that they aren't real and aren't the result of a mental health problem. Studies suggest that your brain doesn't necessarily stop its activity the moment you are clinically dead. You might literally hear yourself declared dead. Up to 30 minutes of brain activity was recorded in one patient. In fact, it's been hypothesized that there may be a few seconds of awareness after someone is decapitated, as studied in rats. There were even witnesses who said that Anne Boleyn tried to speak after she was beheaded. The last execution by a guillotine was in 1977. Speaking of execution methods, one method the ancient Romans used involved beating people and then sewing them into a bag with a live dog, snake, monkey, and chicken, throwing them into the ocean. The Romans were notorious for gruesome execution methods. Perhaps the worst alleged method was called scaphism, in which a person was force fed and covered in milk and honey, put in a swamp, and slowly eaten alive by maggots and worms. The Romans used to torture people by having goats lick their feet. Goats like salt, so they would soak their feet in salt water. Eventually, the goat's tongue was rough enough that the skin would wear away. Then you'd have a wound with salt trickling in. Another ancient Rome fact: during the late Roman Republic, one of the richest men in Rome, Marcus Licinius Crassus, not sure how to pronounce his name correctly, used to own a team of firefighters. There were no dedicated firefighter service at the time. If your building was burning, he would offer nearby the building. If you agreed, he put out the fire. If not, his team of firefighters just left and let the building burn. We've only explored 5% of the ocean. If you get bitten by a human, you absolutely have to go to the hospital right away because the amount of deadly bacteria in any given person's mouth could actually kill you if it enters your bloodstream. You can substitute 65 grams of blood for an egg if you're baking something. The study that found this used pig's blood, but it stands to reason any blood would work. You probably know that a ton of people have died trying to climb Mount Everest, but what you don't likely know is that many of their bodies and belongings are used as trail markers. I think I've said this before. One climber, David Sharp, actually began to freeze to death so close to where another frozen body landmark was that 40 people passed by him without helping him. By the time someone realized the body was actually the still alive Sharp, it was already too late. Similarly, a 26-year-old man named John Edward Jones got stuck in Utah Nutty Buddy Cave in 2009. His body could not be removed, and he eventually died. His body is still there. The sun will die in 5 billion years, and since it will get brighter with time, in about 1 billion years, it will be hot enough to vaporize the water on our planet and make it uninhabitable. Although between climate change, biodiversity decline, and human overpopulation, people could kill the planet long before that happens. And our university could be wiped out at any time by a wandering black hole, nearby supernova, vacuum decay, or any number of other things in the galaxy. The fungus Cordyceps can essentially mind control bugs like ants, beetles, butterflies, and wasps. There are about 30 elevator and escalator caused deaths in the US yearly, and 17,000 injuries. You may be traveling with more than just the living on your next cruise. Turns out a good number of old people die on cruises, and accidents happen, meaning that all cruise ships have a morgue on board. Guess what? They also have jails. During the Black Death, some people sometimes reported hearing strange gurgling noises coming from inside their lesions. And the bubonic plague, as the Black Death is also known, is still around. Did you know that there is a pretty high likelihood that a brutal murderer gets away with their crime? That's right, almost 40% of US murders go unsolved. 100 children are reported missing every day in the US, or one every 40 seconds. That's just dark. And while the chances of their survival and safe return home are very high for children who are abducted and murdered, about 76% of them were dead within 3 hours, and 88.5% were dead within 24 hours. So basically, if a child has actually been abducted by someone with the intent of harming them, there is very little time to find them before it's too late. A child under the age of 15 dies every 5 seconds around the world, mostly from preventable causes. We lose 25,000 people a day to hunger, including 10,000 children. In fact, people die of hunger not because there is not enough food in the world, but because of the way food is distributed, meaning that not everyone gets enough. Even worse, 1.3 billion tons are wasted